Russia and China are openly pushing back against the United States at the United Nations, accusing Washington of intimidation, illegal aggression, and what they call cowboy behaviour toward Venezuela. The sharp exchange played out during an emergency UN Security Council meeting requested by Caracas and backed by Moscow and Beijing, after the US began enforcing a naval blockade on Venezuelan oil shipments. Last week, US President Donald Trump announced what he described as a total and complete blockade of oil tankers linked to Venezuela. Since then, US naval forces have intercepted and seized at least 2 vessels, leaving Venezuelan ports, moves Washington says are necessary to protect US security interests.
The so-called total and complete blockade is aimed at exerting military, political, and economic pressure with the goal of changing a regime that is inconvenient for the United States.
Russia warned the blockade amounts to an unlawful use of force and could destabilize Latin America, a region with a long history of US intervention.
The acts by the U.S. side run counter to all key norms of international law, and the responsibility of Washington is evident for the catastrophic consequences of such cowboy-like conduct.
China echoed Moscow's criticism, condemning what it called unilateral pressure and bullying, and throwing its weight behind Venezuela's appeal to the Security Council.
China opposes all acts of unilateralism and bullying and supports all countries in defending their sovereignty and national dignity.
Venezuela has branded the U.S. seizures as international piracy, accusing Washington of economic warfare and attempting to remove President Nicolas Maduro to gain control over the country's vast oil reserves.
This is the greatest extortion known in our history, a gigantic crime of aggression underway outside any rationality, any legal logic, any historical precedent. But it is not only about Venezuela. Their ambitions are continental. This is how the U.S. government has expressed it in its national security strategy, in which it states that the future of the hemisphere belongs to the U.S. With the application of the Monroe Doctrine in the 21st century, now aggravated by the Trump corollary.
The United States rejects those accusations. U.S. Ambassador Mike Waltz defended the blockade, saying Washington would do everything in its power to protect its borders, its hemisphere, and its national security, accusing the Maduro government of financing criminal activity through oil exports. But for Russia and China, the message at the UN was clear. They see the US blockade not as law enforcement, but as intimidation, and a dangerous precedent that could reshape how power is projected far beyond Venezuela.